So as typical, I am the first person to share, so I will go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. Just here's another chance while I am getting set up for everyone to use this QR code to sign up and use our little form. It's really easy and quick to do. So I didn't have yet again, no one to introduce from external stakeholders. So we're continuing on with our employee spotlight. We'll do that until we run out of employees. Then I will start rerunning everybody's. This week, we're spotlighting Benji Alexander. Um, we asked her the exact same questions we ask everyone else. So we asked, "What do you do to relax?" And she likes to sit in her hammock in the backyard and play with her puppy. And this picture is a actor portrayal. Something interesting. She's the youngest of four, and she has a puppy who are both in training. They are both in training, she says. Something others may not know. She once worked overnights at Big Lots. Uh, at NEMSIS and within NEMSIS, she helps manage the help desk, helps with data missingness. She does accuracy reviews, and she's generally keeps us all doing what we're supposed to do and helps with overseeing externally. She helps oversee Okta credentialing, website update support, and technical support coordination. And I have these are not actor portrayals, these are actual pictures of Benji and her dog. Benji, I don't remember his name. What is his name?
His name is Shiloh.
Shiloh. I knew it, but I could not think of it. So thank you for sharing pictures, and we'll get back to um, the meeting. So that was me. The next up is Josh Legler with an interoperability update. So, Josh, if you're ready, please take it away.
Sounds good, John. Thank you. Get the screens share switched here. So it's been a while since I've given an interoperability update. So that's what I'd like to do today. I have some numbers to reveal from 2025. Before I do that, I'd like to talk a little bit about TEFCA. That's the national federally sponsored framework for interoperability. That got started a few years ago. They went live just over 2 years ago, and this is the framework that people are moving to have an international, or sorry, not international, national framework for exchanging data in healthcare. Just a quick update on TEFCA. They now have about 21,000 organizations that are live on TEFCA. That's a doubling of the number from about 4 months ago. So they're still very much in the ramp up phase, build out phase of TEFCA. A lot of healthcare providers are not on it yet, but we're seeing some good uptake. Um, a couple interesting things happening in TEFCA, and one of those is around individual access services. So that's the feature set in the framework that allows a person like myself to sign up with, through an app or something, and then actually be able to query over the TEFCA network to find all of my medical records from various providers who have treated me. So that's individual access services. And when you participate in TEFCA, say you're an EMS agency, so you are a healthcare provider, you're a covered entity. When you participate in TEFCA, you sign on to the same agreement that every other participant signs on to. And one of the requirements of that agreement is that you share your data over the network when someone queries for it under certain conditions. And particularly, you are required to respond to queries for treatment. So if someone is treating a patient and that patient had an EMS call with your agency a few months ago, then they could query the network, and your agency, through this automated data exchange, needs to go ahead and provide the record of the encounter that you had with that patient so that their current provider can treat them. And then the second required response is, in fact, for individual access services. So if the patient themselves asks for their record, you have to be able to respond and provide those records to them. And as they've been working on IAS, they've really been digging into the technical details of things, and they find the various barriers that get in the way of a patient actually being able to get to their records. And as they run into those barriers, they are developing the technical specs to get around them. So they're going very detailed and very deep in their technical specs around things like how do we verify the patient's identity so that we're giving records to them with confidence that we're not accidentally giving someone else's record to someone. And how do we make sure that participants in the network don't just simply throw up a wall and say, well, we're just not going to respond because we couldn't verify your identity. So walking that line of having enough proof of someone's identity, but not making the bar too high that they can just never prove who they are. So I love that they're really getting into these technical details to make TEFCA actually work in the real world. So that's TEFCA. And for more information, you can search on the web and you'll find all the information about TEFCA and what it's about. But I want to move on to some numbers from 2025. So since 2021, we've been tracking the percentage of records in the national EMS database that have outcome data. Technically speaking, this means we're looking at all patient care reports where the destination of transport was a hospital or a freestanding ED. Among those records, what percentage of them had an ED or hospital disposition? If the disposition was still a patient, we're not counting those. But if it has a disposition like discharge to home or admitted to the as an inpatient or to rehab, whatever, those are the ones we're counting. When we first started counting this in 2021, we were looking at under 1% having either an ED or hospital disposition. And we've seen some gradual increase since then over the years. So time to reveal 2025, up to 5%. This is the biggest percentage point increase since we started track, well, ever, because you can't, we started at 0.9 in 2021. So that's great news there. But I really want to focus in on these two states. The increase that we're seeing is because of big gains in Florida and Maine. 2 years ago, Maine did a statewide integration at the state EMS office level with the Maine HIE. And so they're getting outcomes on a big percentage of their records, and they're sending those updates to the national EMS database. And then last year, Florida did the same thing. They integrated with the state HIE at the EMS office level statewide. They're getting outcomes on a bunch of records and sending those to the national database. So if I were to remove Maine and Florida and look at just the other states, this is how we would be looking. We would be just flat pretty much for 2025. So big kudos to Maine and Florida. They were the ones that are making the needle move at the national level. What does this tell me? I think if we see a couple more states this year that are able to successfully do an integration with an HIE, then we're going to see jumps in those states, and they'll be the ones moving the needle this year. What I see overall is these network-based integrations are more scalable, and these are the ones where we get outcomes on a large chunk of patients. We continue to see individual agencies with some point-to-point connections to hospitals, and some of those agencies are submitting outcomes to their state repository, but it's just kind of here and there. So if you are getting outcome data, so you're an agency or you're a vendor working with agencies, you're a state, you're getting outcome data, let's take a look. I can look in the national database from an extract I've been given, and I can look at your specific agency or your vendor or your state, and I can tell you what percentage of your records have outcomes in the national database. You can compare that to what you know about your data locally, and we'll see if there's a gap. And if there is, then we can work on fixing that gap. It may be as simple as that your agency just needs to resubmit records to the state after you get outcomes, or it may be more complicated. Maybe your vendor is getting outcome data to you, but they're not transforming it to NEMSIS format and inserting it into a resubmission, and they might need technical help figuring out how they would translate that data. We can work on that too. So let's see if we can get a few more big wins this year to keep that number going up. For more on interoperability, especially if you're new to this topic, I'd recommend going to the NEMSIS website. Under the Using EMS Data menu, there's an option called Interoperability, or you can follow this QR code. That's a great jumping off point to just kind of ramp up your knowledge on EMS data interoperability. And as always, I am happy to take direct emails or phone calls from you where we can connect and see what we can do to help get these percentages up even further in the National EMS database. All right, we have a question from David Saylor that was, what are the outcome return rates in Maine and Florida? I've not asked them for their permission to share the 2025 numbers from their states, but I am hoping to put together a webinar in August, and I'm hoping I can get some help from Maine and Florida to share what they've been doing. So I will be in contact with them about getting permission to share their numbers. But I will say that they're in the double digits percentages, a significant number of reports getting outcomes into the national database. Any other questions? You can either raise your hand or type them in. Okay, great. Well, that's the interoperability update today. Thanks.
Thank you, Josh. As always, it's very informational. Next up is Mr. Randall Eimerman with a NASEMSO update.
All right, John, are you seeing my screen here?
I am. It looks good.
1 second. I've lost the items I need. Here we go. All right. First is the update on the NASEMSO update. Kind of our final call here, just so everyone knows, we're 4 days away from the start of the NASEMSO annual meeting. If you've downloaded the data manager's agenda prior to today, there will be a slight update to the agenda. It's really just a slight movement of time so that Dia Gaynor and Jason Rhodes can meet with the council, and then also our federal partner update was just adjusted slightly. All other agenda items are the same. Using the QR code there will take you right to the page where you can get any of those items that you need. The CPMIH committee and the HITS committee will also meet. Their agendas are not yet posted. I will also put the link in the chat when I'm all completed here. John, I'm just going to move right into my second topic. The second topic here I have is the violence against EMS personnel. For anyone who watched the violence against EMS personnel training on Tuesday, April 7th, I think the training went very well. It was very repetitive. It was really a good look at all of the different data elements, the structures of them. So that QR code that I have on the screen will take you directly to the training that is on the NEMSIS YouTube page. Once again, feel free to look through that. And once again, I do kind of apologize for the repetitive nature of that training, but that was really the best way to get that training out. We've also talked about the companion document that will be paired with the spreadsheet for the data dictionary. So once again, that's in its final stages of being completed. There's a lot of words in there that are very important that make sure that we have them correctly. On the screen now, we're just sort of navigating over here to where the violence against EMS personnel data dictionary is, and you should be able to locate that companion document just below that here very shortly. Were there any questions about the violence against EMS personnel training, the documents, anything? All right, and then lastly, we'll just sort of jump into the custom data elements. So CPMIH custom national custom data elements are in process. I've been working back and forth with Josh Legler. He sent me some rough drafts. We had some questions. I think we're very close to having the final product. We've really been studying these, making sure everything is correct, to make sure we're maximizing the amount of time that needs to be done for that. Also understand that the vendors would have to build those. So a lot of just proofreading is being completed on that, and making sure the elements are correct. Lastly, here we have on this slide, PowerPoint slide here is the blood transfusion national custom elements. This form will look very similar to the infectious disease one. We're trying to mirror that. This is sort of like a one or two pager here to kind of help explain. Here's the blood transfusion national custom elements. Here's some additional recommended elements. We do have a link in there as well to the Blood Product Administration Documentation Best Practice Guidance that was put out by NASEMSO's Data Managers Council. We also have the recommended procedure codes and the medication codes that have kind of all encompassed with that guidance document. This is not posted to the NASEMSO or to the NEMSIS website yet, but this is just kind of a snapshot for everyone. I've been working very closely with NEMSIS to get this completed, and there is plans to complete more for the other national custom elements. And so there you go. Once that's posted, I will give an update on its location. Any questions on the custom data elements? And John, as long as there's nothing in the Q&A, that'll be all for me today.
Great. Thank you, Randall.
Thank you.
So unfortunately, Jeremy's not in the meeting yet, so we'll have to table his elements until the next meeting, which happens to be May 13th at the same time, same place. The next training will be May 5th. It'll be done by Mr. Randall Eimerman and Jeremy Kinsman and our own Kevin Nicholes. It'll be a NEMSIS Prehospital Blood Resources and Tools. And then the following, the next V3 call after that will be the 27th of May. So now is the open forum time. Does anyone have anything for the good of the group or anything they would like to, or any questions they would like to ask? Okay. Hearing none. Hearing none, and there is one.
Yeah, I can answer the question that came in there. It looks like is the town hall still happening? Yes. We have moved that to May the 4th to make sure that it didn't conflict with the NASEMSO annual meeting, but it is on, and please drop us a line if you have not received, but everybody that's in the mailing list should have received the update and invitation.
And may the 4th be with you.
Brandon has his hand raised. Brandon, you should be able to speak.
Yeah, quick question. On the blood data sets, I see you have the FIN as a national NEMSIS data set. Is there any talk about including the DIN, the donor information number, into that, so that way we could keep track of that as well?
I see if I can answer that. This is Randall. The donor identification number, I believe, has already been created as a national custom element.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Sorry, John, I'm trying to get the number too real quick. I apologize, I didn't have it open.
Yeah, I'm looking real quick too, Randall. I thought for sure we had both the DIN and the FIN, and right now I'm only seeing the FIN.
We have the blood product unit number. That's e-medications
Oh, yeah.
05. And the definition for that is the unit number or donor identification number, the DIN of the blood being transfused. It's a federally required unique identifier that allows hospitals and blood banks to know exactly where a blood donation came from, and it should be exactly 13 characters.
Awesome.
Does that answer the question for you, Brandon?
Got a thumbs
Excellent.
up, Brandon. Great. Thank you, Randall and Jared and Josh. I mean, all right. Hearing no other or seeing no other questions, we will move to the breakout rooms. Just a reminder, please, if you're a vendor, only join your breakout room unless you have permission from the other vendor's breakout room to join it. Please be civil. No arguments if we please. And I think if the breakout rooms are available, you can start going now.